This should start in a second. Tottenham till I die. Tottenham till I die. Spurs die hard. Tottenham till I die. Tottenham till I die. Spurs die hard. Tottenham till I die. Tottenham till I die. Spurs die hard. Tottenham till I die. Tottenham till I die. Tottenham till I die. Spurs die hard. Tottenham till I die. Tottenham till I die. Spurs die hard. Tottenham till I die. Hello, good evening, and welcome, as someone far more famous than me used to introduce his shows with. Tonight, we're following the same pattern as we did last Sunday. The first hour, we will analyse the game with my stellar panel, and then in the second hour, Callum will be joining us with the most up-to-date transfer news rather than transfer speculation. But can I first of all introduce the panel? From Frankfurt, brought in at great expense, first-class fares and everything. Phil, good evening. How are you, sir?
Good evening, Ian. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, I'm good. Feeling much better after a win. Obviously, yesterday, 3 points is always nice. Had a nice Christmas overall, and like really just generally looking forward to probably the January transfer window, I think now.
Absolutely. Phil,
I hope-
a lot of my audience may not know you. I know you from, Harry's show. So tell us a bit about yourself. I know you are based in Frankfurt.
Yeah, so I'm English, I'm British, born just west of London in Berkshire, grew up there, studied German and business, and kind of moved out to Germany, about 12 years ago, I think, or even longer, maybe 15 years ago. Been in Frankfurt now for over 10 years. My wife's from Frankfurt, and obviously been based out here a while. Actually helped to set up an official German Tottenham Hotspur supporters club here in Germany, which covers the whole of Germany, although we call ourselves South Germany Spurs, German Lily-Whites. But we are an official club, so we get kind of the privileges that allows, right? Official supporters clubs with tickets and events and meetings and stuff. And I got elected onto the board actually in the summer, so kind of helping to run that now. And we're actually trying to coordinate maybe a meetup with the Spurs legend actually in the coming months. I've actually reached out to the German Tottenham scout, who kind of heads up all scouting activity here in Germany as well, to try and do an interview as well. So we've got quite a few irons in the fire there. And apart from that, I support, I guess, at the same time, the local Bundesliga team here, which is Eintracht Frankfurt, who obviously had the pleasure of winning the Europa League as well a couple of years ago with Oliver Glasner. Hence why I'm a massive Glasner fan, or have been a massive Glasner fan. And it's quite funny, actually, because Eintracht Frankfurt and Tottenham are actually quite similar in terms of the trophies that they've won over the years. They've kind of both won 3 European trophies. They've both won 2 titles, I think. They've both won a bunch of cups. and they both have these highs and lows through the years where they go from seemingly glory days into absolute valleys of disaster and despair. So it's
I hate to tell you, Phil, we've won
yeah,
4
I don't know
European
why.
trophies. Yeah.
Yeah, true. Of course we have. So of course we have.
Anyway,
Of course we have.
I'll leave you there. You no doubt get a chance to talk later. I'm a big Glasgow fan as well, but we'll probably park that tonight after yesterday's win. And one of our occasional regulars, if I can use that expression, Brad Matthews. Good evening, Brad.
Hi, Ian. Hi, everyone in the chat. Yeah, I'm fine. I mean, it's Christmas. It's the usual: eat, drink, and be merry, and then recover the next day, and then repeat. So, yeah, I'm at work this week for 3 days anyway, and then back to normal next week. But yeah, it's been an interesting Christmas. Someone made the point the other day that only one game on Boxing Day, which is very unusual.
Crazy. It was another. Yeah, I was talking to a friend of mine about that. Normally Adrian will remember. You'll remember getting up on Boxing Day morning. We'd be playing West Ham at 11:30. You had all Christmas Day to look forward to it. You'd get up, you'd go to the game, come back 4 o'clock in the afternoon. You'd be having your leftover turkey and a glass of wine and talking about the game. Where's those games days gone? I don't know. And anyway, Adrian, I forgot to introduce you last week, so I won't make that mistake again. My partner in crime and co-owner of the channel, Adrian. Good evening, Adrian.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm interested to know from Phil, actually, whether the scout you're talking about is Max Leggett, who we nicked from Bayern Munich, or whether it's someone else.
Yeah, it is.
It is Max Leggett.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so yeah, because we've actually got 5 scouts, 2 in England, 3 abroad, 1 in Portugal, 1 in Italy, 1 in Germany, and then there's another 5 that do data and analysis. Rob McKenzie's got a team of 10. So anybody who thinks transfers go down to the manager, think again. It doesn't happen that way. Anyway, back to you, Ian, before I go.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Back to me. I'm going to talk about the game in general terms rather than specifics. But let's talk about the team first of all, Phil. I'll declare my interest. That was the team I had in my head before kickoff. So I put on Twitter, right. Well, that's the team I wanted. So come on, Thomas. No mistakes today. What was your take on the starting lineup?
Pretty similar to you, Ian. I was pretty happy with the starting lineup. That's the starting 11 that I was hoping for, I think, or predicted. I was very happy to see Gray obviously continuing to get a run in the team. He's showing support for him. Bergvall was likely to play the number 10 role based on the players that we had available, I think, with Xavi missing. So that was fine. Kudus, obviously, anyways. Bentancur, I was fine with as well. I did think Palina might come off the bench at some point. Okay, the only thing that I was probably not 100% sure about was Richarlison and Moani. Again, which one's going to play in the centre? And I did guess that it would be Moani on the left. And we'll talk about the game, right? We'll talk about Odegaard as well. But do you know what I mean?
I've got on the program to talk about the position of Moani and Richarlison, and of course Odegaard after his little 30-minute cameo. But Brad, do you share mine and Phil's enthusiasm for the starting lineup? I mean, I should remember, of course, Romero and Simmons were both suspended, and Simmons will be suspended for the next 2 games.
Yeah, I mean, with those 2 out suspended, and also Udogie injured as well. The team virtually picked itself, really. I guess you could have made an argument. Does Tell deserve a start? He hasn't got many starts. I mean, the thing was, there was 7 days since the last game, so it wasn't a question of, we need to rotate because there's 2 games in 4 days. So I think, they more or less went with the team that played against Liverpool. You could argue that Paulinho could have come in for Bentancur, but Bentancur's actually been playing all right lately. So So yeah, it didn't really surprise me the team lineup.
Adrian?
Yeah, I mean, let's not forget Sales have won African Nations Cup. So
as well,
there's only a pick of 4 midfielders, and Gray's done well to 90. He's played 5 games on the spin. I thought, I mean, I know you'll get into the game, but 3 standout players. I hate to say it, Richarlison, Danso, and Gray for me. There was a few others that were quite poor because we did stink the place out and steal the points, basically. So, but we'll take it. There'll be times when it goes against us. So, me, and I'll celebrate any win.
Yeah, tell me about it. Phil, one of the criticisms, and I mean, I'll declare this. I mean, people that have watched this show and heard me on streams will know I wouldn't have sacked Ange, although I understand the reasons for doing it. And if we were not having Ange, I wanted Glasner in. Frank, I think, has been consistently inconsistent this season. And one of the things that worried me, certainly before the Liverpool game, was that the players really didn't seem to be busting a gut. And in big games like Chelsea at home, Arsenal away, the effort was 50%. And you can't be at 95% in the Premier League. You get found out. But I thought with the Liverpool game and with the game yesterday, the performance levels and the effort and the industry, it might not have been pretty, but they were much, much higher.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you compare those games to, like Chelsea, the Arsenal game, was it even the Fulham game? There was one game recently which was a no-show where we didn't turn up. Sorry, the Forest game. That's what I was thinking of as well, right? Where we didn't do anything in the game. I think you saw yesterday and in the Liverpool game that at least the players, had some energy and they were quite active. You could see that they were running around and they were trying to do stuff. And whereas in some of those other games, it was literally a no-show from us. So that is a positive. But I think the problem is I think there's still so many different variables that spinning wheels at play in the background. Obviously the new manager, Frank himself, the fact that he is coming from a smaller team and he's coming kind of into the headlights, into limelight more, where everything he says is like magnified 100 times and put across the pages of the newspapers, all of the fact that we don't have these 80 goals and assists from last season. The fact that there's so many variables at play in this whole situation at the moment that the fact that we are at least seeing improved performance levels and energy levels, and indeed like the game yesterday. I know Palace had a few players missing, but to be honest, we had more players missing if you include our injured ones, that have been missing all season. Like and Romero and Xavi, and the fact that Moani probably still isn't 100% fit, in my opinion, not fully anyways. There's when you the fact that we were knocking on the door still at the end, and in the end we could have scored 4 or 5 goals yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. Strange game.
If you put everything together, it's just a weird situation because Frank. When we'll talk about it, of course, in more detail, but, he's getting a lot of criticism online. Some of it deserved, right, in terms of, some things that he says or doesn't say, and generally the lack of attacking moves, let's say, in phases of games. But, right now, we need every point that we can get. And, I think we need to just be happy that we can actually go somewhere like Palace, which isn't an easy place to go and pick up 3 points.
No,
because normally, there'd be a lot of people would say, well, Glasner, Glasner is a fantastic manager.
Yeah,
and there'd be lots of people who would say Glasner.
I'm not going to have you and me debating whether we should sack Frank tomorrow. I think Adrian, I know you're a big. Frank's got to stay for the season. And I think I think that does make a lot of sense. Brad, the overall level of performance, though, what was your take on that?
I've actually been impressed with the level since the Forest game, because after the Forest game, I just was dreading Liverpool and Palace, to be fair. But I thought the effort against Liverpool was good, and I think at the end of the game, I think we looked more likely to win even with 9 players. And then yesterday, I thought the effort was good again, and I never felt there was a few dodgy moments, of course there was, but I often felt that I never felt that threatened by Palace during yesterday's game. I mean, Vicario had 2 saves to make, and they are pretty easy saves. And the other fact is, we're literally that much away from Richarlison making it 2-0, and even you can say that much away from making it 1-0 before Gray had scored. So, and we hit the post at the end as well. So, it could have been 2 or 3-0 really, and I don't think anyone would have really complained.
And yet, Forest, Palace had a couple of 2 or 3 actually more than takeable chances that they didn't hit the target with.
Exactly, and that's I think with Thomas Frank. He's basically on par with what he's done at his other 2 clubs when he started. They didn't have good starts at Bromby, and he didn't have a good start with Brentford. And I think that the comparison between managing Brentford and Tottenham is that I think if Brentford was sitting in 11th position in their first season under Thomas Frank in the Premier League, they'd be well pleased.
Yeah.
With Tottenham is that and I think, considering the resources we've got as a club and the support of fan base and how well we're known around the world, we should expect to be competing. We haven't got no God-given right to compete, but we should be competing for titles and things like that. And that's why when Frank comes in and doesn't turn it around immediately, everyone says, "Oh, we're going to get rid of him and start again," which is,
sorry, Brad. Let me bring Adrian on that very point. That one of my worries is that Thomas Frank still doesn't understand what it is to be a Spurs manager. Instead of him stepping up to being the Spurs manager, it's like he's talking Tottenham down to Brentford levels.
Well, he's not a too dares to do manager, is he? We've seen it with Nicholson. We see it with Birkinshaw, even old dealers and Oddle, whether they succeeded or not. You had it with Joel, you had it with Redknapp, you had it with Venables, you had it with Poch, and then we bring in right, Mourinho. You knew that was going to end badly. Nuno didn't know nothing about, and Conte, and they're not too dares to do managers. Mourinho and Conte play like when you're playing 4-2-3-1. It's normally a 7-4 in a coaching manual. But Mourinho and Conte playing 8-3, and they were lucky to have Kane and Son up front to make their excuses, and fans seem to be happy because we have such poor form coming from the Poch era that they take any win and any style of football. Whereas I'm more of a traditionalist. I want the fast attacking football that we've experienced here, me and you more in particular than others, and probably Brad as well. So he's not a too dares to do manager, and I actually think the pressure's got to him, and it's forced him to play a bit more attacking. Because there were lots of fans going on about playing Polina and Bentancur together. They don't give you the legs in midfield. I'm still saying the biggest problem is midfield. You can like slate Frank for his performances at times, for some of his substitutions, some of them too late, things like that. We've all done that. But if he's going to survive at Spurs, we have to see growth and progress in the second half of the season with new signings, and like we've got to see good footbw. It's a prerequisite.
What Adrian, what you're saying about to dare to do his manager, I know what you're saying. I can see what your point is, but the thing is, he's only been there. We haven't even got halfway mark of the season. Let's see where we are at the end of the season. Because
my caveat to that, I'm not going to find the bus. My caveat to that, Brad, is that he's had 18 league games, 6 Champions League games, which is 24, 2 League Cup games, which is 26, and a pre-season. And I don't still know what a style of play is.
Well, it's Brentford team that got promoted, but were a very attacking team and scored lots of goals. So, and we haven't at the moment. You've taken all right. Son last season wasn't the Son we know and love. So we've literally lost
the front four
Son and Kane in last season. We haven't replaced them yet. So, once when Pochettino, I don't think his first half of the season was very good. And we ended up fifth that season. And then we had players like Son join at the end of that season, Kane becoming the player that he became. So I forget Kane never started up front in Pochettino's team. So maybe in the transfer window we'll get some players in and maybe it might change things. As I say, I'm not going to, say anything to the end of the season. I don't think we'll get relegated.
It's a fair point because we also lost Kulusevski, Solanke, and Maddison, and we'd have more points if those three had been fit.
A lot of players to lose. If by the end of the season and we're still playing the same dull fashion, well then fine. I'll say okay, fair enough. And then we'll see what happens in some of the World Cup and all these managers suddenly become available.
Let me come in because I want to say hi to our friends in the chat. There's not many comments, although 20 odd of you so far. Wayne Bonner, good evening, Wayne. Seasons of the compliments of the seasons of the compliment. Compliments of the season to you. Graham, GCTV, good evening, Graham. Dan, the guy. Frank isn't the answer. Well, yeah, you may be right. Travis, good evening, Travis. You must come on here as well at some point, and evening, Phil, as well. So I just wanted to bring in that. Let me bring you back in then, Phil. I mean, I've put Kudus running at players. One of the frustrations, and I raised this last week with the Liverpool game, was, and this was while we still had 11, was the number of times Kudus or someone else was getting the ball and was coming back into midfield rather than attacking your fullback. And I thought, well, this was completely different. We had Spence, we had Porro, we had Kudus, all going at their fullbacks. Kudus, particularly in the first 25 minutes, was looking really dangerous because he was so positive.
Yeah, I think during the Liverpool game, I came on after that and said that, the feed that we were watching here in Germany showed Frank a couple of times literally tearing his wonderful hair out. Like after Kudus did that, like twice, he was going pretty crazy on the sidelines and he was shouting. So what I at least took out of that is that it's not that Frank is telling the players or telling Kudus to play like that. I know Kudus sometimes he gets two men on him or even three men, tripling up on him, and he's got to hold the ball up, right, which costs a lot of energy, doesn't it? He's very strong, but he's so often got to like get the ball, but then he can turn, and all I can take out of that is it was different yesterday, and I want to see Kudus just like literally, like almost just do what comes naturally. It's just like literally turn, win the ball, hold it up, turn, speed off down the wing, or speed in inside if that's how it is, right, where he either takes a shot or passes it on. And I just don't know. I think there is maybe some confusion still, maybe with some of the players sometimes in terms of, I say confusion, but maybe a lack of confidence. Or maybe they're thinking too much. They're trying to make things too complicated. Where they could just make it so much easier. Football is not a difficult game, really, right? Sometimes, if you play 4-3-3, 4-4-2, get the ball as a winger, you run at the player, right? And I just wonder sometimes whether the players anyways are lacking confidence, which is true, right? They are lacking confidence, right? They need rebuilding. And number two, you could see yesterday that at least they were going for it. And I just think that maybe, again, Frank needs more time with some of these players just to kind of, I say, either for them to get what his plan is, which I'm also not quite sure of sometimes.
No.
But then on the other hand, maybe sometimes it is just simpler that, and it's just a case of getting more time with the players, more and more training sessions, getting them rebuilt in terms of confidence. You know what I mean? So
yeah, Brad, that's a fair comment. And one of my criticisms, if you like, of Thomas Frank would be, I don't mind us playing a counter-attacking game. We've had several counter-attacking managers. Poch is most naturally a counter-attacking manager. But you've got to counter-attack with real purpose. And I haven't seen that. I didn't see it much under Mourinho or Conte either. But I haven't seen it so far under Thomas Frank, that when we get the ball, we transition with purpose. And we've not really been doing that.
I think that's down to the fact that Kudus, he takes his player on and then takes him on again. And I think half the problem with our quick attacking is that we seem to stop and go backwards. Whereas if he got the cross in early, then you might see more of a thing from it. I mean, the first disallowed goal was a good example of that. The ball came back to, I think it was Porro, and Porro put the ball in straight away, and Richarlison scored. And there's one moment in the game. This is actually quite interesting. I was at the pub watching it, and there's one moment in the game where Kudus got the ball, and he's taking the ball, and I said, "Oh, watch this. He's going to pass that way. It's going to end up back with the goalkeeper." And sure as hell, it ended up back with the goalkeeper. The young lad behind the bar, who was an Arsenal supporter, he said, "Yeah, Arsenal do that all the time. It's really annoying." So it's so I thought, okay, fair enough. So yeah, I think that's the problem, is that when we do, I've noticed that we do counter-attack quickly, but then we stop. And that's where I think the problem, because once you stop, you allow their defenders to get back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, whether that might be because maybe when we counter-attack, we don't get enough players in the box quick enough. Maybe that's why Kudus has to stop to wait for that to happen. But I'm sure that if you just put that ball in a lot earlier, and then the players will know then. Yeah, that's why this is why Brennan Johnson scored so many goals, because he could
going to talk about Brennan
and he'd know where the ball was going to. And he basically say, well, that's where I think the ball's going to be. Yeah. And 50% of the time it was, and he scored the goal. So, like most good strikers do.
Adrian, I'm going to bring you on, and I'll leave that for now because I might come back to it. But I want to bring you in on a couple of things. One of which we spoke just about before we went on air, but very, very quickly, there's no argument that the two disallowed goals were correctly disallowed. It's fair, isn't it?
I'm stuck in a time zone where there's offside. My mind is still with the old rule, Ian, that we would have known. That if there has to be two players, but one of them has to be the goalkeeper, stuck there. And the Bergvall thing. Now, we've seen goals scored that have been given where strikers have been in an offside position, but like to the left or whatever, when the ball's gone in the net. And it comes, but he's not interfering with play or whatever.
Yeah.
The Bergvall
touched the ball. Bergvall touched the ball.
Right, okay. But
Bergvall doesn't touch the ball, that doesn't get disallowed.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's automatic. I'm glad it was automatic. So the decision should have come quicker than it did, right? Okay,
but I just think, and there's two things about this. I just think that the whole VAR, and you're right. It's done so many automatic now, so a machine is basically saying offside or onside, so we're all equal there. But the idea of football is to score goals. VAR seems to be hell bent on stopping goals.
Finding a way,
and to be offside by a kneecap like Richarlison was for the second one, it's absolutely ridiculous. And in the old days, if you looked at the you'd say, "Oh, that player's level with him." If you're level with the player, then you're onside. And it's just so annoying. Sorry, just one more point. The real sad thing is after we're all dead and gone, the current generation of kids will be so used to it that they won't even moan about it. So
there is a rumour they're going to change the rule again to more
because they keep getting it wrong.
Yeah.
Phil, let me bring you in. I wasn't going to labour this, but the couple of points that have been made that are worth discussing. I wasn't happy with the assistants, plural. They both got a big offside wrong. And if you were analysing that 5 years ago on Match of the Day, you'd be saying Spurs won 3-0 and had two offside goals and we need VAR. But the other thing was there were two, if not three, clear foul throws by the Crystal Palace player. And they weren't picked up. And the assistant, I had this debate with Kev Clark. Can you see it from 40 yards away? Well, yeah, you can. I mean, you really should be able to see that from. I mean, I've been an official, I've been a referee and a linesman, as we called them then. So I thought the two assistants were very, very poor.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think generally the standard of refereeing, and that includes the linos and everyone else, has just got worse just recently because I think on the one hand they think that they can rely on VAR or on other stuff to help them out, but then what's the point of them being there? Like, football's always been a game that was started 140 150 years ago, and it was always based on human error, but on human decisions. And if you're a lino, like, they seem to theoretically spend more time actually looking at fouls and stuff on the sidelines, but then they get it wrong anyways. So they get lazy. They've got lazy now, and it can't be. Yeah. It can't be that they can't. They've got to see a foul throw, like, straight away. Like, I mean, how can they not be like they need to be? They need to be like suspended for like
so
1 or 2 games or something.
The comment, VAR has made the officials lazy. I didn't actually see who it was. Natalie's my younger daughter. So evening that, I couldn't agree with you more. And I mean, if anyone's interested in aircraft, I always thought when they started to automate the cockpits, that it would make the pilots complacent and they wouldn't be able to react, which is why they train and they spend hours and hours in simulators for things that will never happen. These guys, well, if I miss an offside, doesn't matter. If I miss an offside, it doesn't matter because VAR will pick it up.
They need to be accountable, though, right? They need to be accountable because theoretically nowadays, I mean, don't they all go to like training, like to almost like professional like training schools or academies, right? Whereas in the old days, either you're an amateur lino or ref, right? So you kind of learn by going through the how do you say the grassroots kind of stuff. But then even on a professional level, right? You'd probably you wouldn't go to like training on proper sit-down lectures and an academy to do it, whereas supposedly they do nowadays. But then if they're that bad and they're inconsistent as well, like, they need to have some kind of repercussions on it because it's just going to get worse, and the fans are getting angry about it. And it doesn't help. It doesn't help anyone.
I gather it was Rob Jones who refereed the Forest City game on Saturday. I didn't watch it. I was watching the Edinburgh Derby. But there was a lot of controversy about that, and I thought his handling of our game with Liverpool was really, really poor as well. But okay, Adrian, I want to move it on because as I said, we got Cal coming on at 9 o'clock. Unfortunately, and we keep getting guests on this show that make really interesting points, so we have to keep discussing them. What we need to do is get a couple of real bores on. And the show go.
Me and you, Ian. Me and you, yeah.
We would be you, yeah. No, just you, Adrian. Just you.
All right, thank you. I mean, look, I've seen. I mean, Phil's probably seen him as well. I mean, I've seen Marnie on videos play on the left and play well. We haven't got a big enough sample to criticise him. I've seen him play blindingly well on the left. As Phil's alluded to, he's got the mask off now. He's no longer doing auditions for Phantom of the Opera, and like he looks good. I mean, I get it. Richarlison would definitely block it up on the left, but I don't see why they can't interchange during a game anyway. Joy, just switch a bit. You get wingers that switch, don't you? So what's wrong with it? But I get it.
Pearson, Jimmy Neighbour, or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, like, whenever fans are so drained at the moment with performances this season that you're getting a knee-jerk reaction. It's always like, change this. You've got to stick with something. You can't keep changing things if you want to get a settled type and all that. But, players can half-time and Frank can go, look, guys, switch for 10 minutes, there it goes. If not, switch back. I mean, because they can both do a job on the left and they can both do a job in the centre. It's just that we all know that Marne is technically better. His hold-up plays better. He's just better than Richarlison. Who's got to admit he's played his best football this season for us.
I mean, I agree. I think he's one of those players where beginning of the season, you'd say 9 Spurs fans out of 10 would say just punt it. At the moment, God forbid he got an injury, because then you'd really worry about where the goals were coming from.
Have we got a player called Solanke?
Solanke.
Yeah, I vaguely remember him.
Yeah. Solanke.
That's the one.
Solanke.
What happened to him?
He's the bloke that we signed from Bournemouth.
He's on grass.
I think we gave a...
Well, yeah, I've heard that as well.
Free to Tranmere Rovers.
Having said that about Richarlison, though, that shot he had straight at the keeper, that was pathetic. I can remember talking to coaches in the past and saying, I don't mind a player screwing a ball past the far post or missing on the inside post, but don't try to make yourself look good during a game with a stat just because you've hit one straight at a goalkeeper. You know, he hasn't got. He's not a Kane. He won't find, or a Son. He's not going to find the far corner on the inside. And a lot of his goals, I mean, they're not tap-ins. He is good in the air, but he misses a lot in the air and he misses a lot on the deck as well, though, you know what I mean? So,
yeah. I mean, I don't know if anybody's seen the... when I was listening to the commentary, we didn't do the show last night because I was at Natalie's watching the game and doing dinner, but they were talking on the radio, and then I saw it briefly on Match of the Day when I came home, about Calvin Lewin's heat map or goal scoring. And I have to do that. If you take a line from the penalty spot and just go about a yard either way and go in, all of his goals are in that rectangle. Everything within the middle of the goal between 12 and sort of 6 yards out. It's uncanny how many goals he's scored from that position.
I think that we've been quite lucky as well in some respects that at least Richarlison has brought, energy and fitness this season. So he's at least plugged the gap in some shape or form, right? And he's had good games, he's had awful games, he's had a couple of very average ones, but at least he's kind of in some ways stepped up enough in some respects to kind of plug a gap. But the reality is, if we had Solanke fit, or if we had someone like Ollie Watkins, or even Dominic Calvert-Lewin, like in the form that he is now, I honestly believe, again, though, that automatically improves the way that this team plays automatically, and that probably gives us another 5, 6, 7 points just because of having an effective striker. That's the only thing I'd say about Richarlison. I don't think we can say what we want about his ability, but I don't think he's not effective. He doesn't help. He doesn't kind of make our team, play better, if that makes any sense. Moani, if Moani is 100% fit, like he's genuinely 100% match fit, and he plays in the centre, and then you play Odobert or someone else on the left, like a proper left winger, then Moani improves the way that our team plays. And that's what I would say about, in my opinion, about Richarlison. Again, finishing probably not good enough, too many average games, misses sitters, scores worldies, but I don't think he helps us as a unit. That's actually almost one of my biggest problems with him. He doesn't help us play as a team how we want to play, I think.
I'm going to come back to a little bugbear of mine. I think you might agree with it, particularly if you're a Glasner fan, that the squad would be more suited to a different formation. But just a couple of comments in the chat there. Good evening, David. And, I think I'd probably go with that. Nita saying, Adrian, Ian, the other guests on the panel, hope you're well. So good evening to you, Nita. If you're happy and it, clap your hands. Absolutely. What isn't it lovely? Is that jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle all the way? Oh, what fun it is to see Tottenham win away. That's all the singing that I ever do. Let's go back. Because Nita raised the point of Archie Gray scoring. I mean, I think that's remarkable that first goal in 112 senior games, despite the fact that, all right, he's played a fair number of them as a centre half, right back, left
Spurs,
back.
Though.
Yeah, absolutely.
60
I think
Spurs.
he's
Spurs or Spurs and Leeds.
Spurs and Leeds.
Yeah, all right, yeah.
It's about 60 for Spurs, I think it is.
Yeah. Even so, you'd have expected him to have scored more than that.
He's 19 still, isn't he? Is he 19?
He's only 19.
And he's played 112
Yeah.
professional senior games in the Championship and the Premier League. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And Europe, of course.
Yeah.
Just going to talk very briefly of the goal then that he scored. If we'd conceded that, Adrian, I would be livid.
Yeah.
They lost the ball. I mean, always when you were coached, if you can't win the first ball, you must win the second. And they lost the first ball. Moani got these are all in their goal area. Moani got the first at the far post. Richarlison got the second and headed it on. And Gray got the third and put it into the net. Great goal to score. But considering what a big physical team they are, Crystal Palace, I thought from their point of view, it was a dreadful goal to lose.
Yeah, Porro, one of the good things he did, is put the corner in, and then Richarlison, he is good in the air in the box, nodding it back for greater score. I'm so pleased for the kid. I'm a very, very big fan. I've watched a lot of Archie Gray, and he's played 5 games on the spin there. So whether Paulina starts in front of him next, I don't know, depending whether Bergvall's injured or not. It's because he cut him off, didn't he? But yeah, so we see him against Bodo Glimt when he broke down the right and he put the ball in for the goal. We've seen him score now. We see him against Fulham at home. He's got a great engine on him. The charging runs down the right. But he's good in the air. He's got a good pass to him. He's got great vision. He's got pace. I mean, he might not be sexy. Fans, he looks ordinary. But they say the same about Sarr. All Sarr does is run about. There's more to those kids' game than when people are giving them credit for. Because for one, even as Phil just alluded to here, I mean, if you're 19 and you've played 112 games, you've got to have something about you, right? And the same for Bergvall, who was poor yesterday, in my opinion. I'm a big fan. He was poor, right? But So Gray, he's going to be an absolute star for us, right? And he's got a good head on him, as well. He comes from a footballing tradition that we know in. You've got Frank Gray, Eddie Gray was fantastic on the wing for Leeds, right? I've no fears about Gray being an absolute star for us. We still need to fix our midfield with a bit of experience.
Yeah. In fairness, we maybe alluded to this earlier, Brad. I mean, Palace did have a lot of chances to win the game.
Yeah, there were moments where I felt a little bit, nervous, but overall, I didn't feel that threatened. I thought we were quite comfortable. I thought we challenged pretty well. The home team are going to get chances. So. But as I said before, Vicario didn't have really many saves to make. It wasn't like he kept us in the game. And maybe the shots that are going wide or over the top, maybe that's because we're pressurising them. I don't know. All I will say is that they had chances to win the game, but they didn't. So, I don't really care.
Mateta screwed a daisy cutter wide of the post, didn't he? And then they had 3 headers. They should have scored one of them headers. I mean, one of them, one came off the top of the bar on a fast break. Okay, fair enough. They should have scored one of the others. But we couldn't have helped them more. We kept playing this effing long ball all the time. And we just kept giving the ball back to them. The first half, here we go again, Nottingham Forest, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we couldn't help them more, but they couldn't finish their dinner.
Yeah. Someone commented earlier, I'm going to try and find it, that Kudus is the only, it's from Graham in the chat. I didn't flag this earlier, but the point you've raised, maybe Brad, you want to come in. Kudus is currently our only outlet.
This is why we need a left winger.
Yeah.
So you don't have to rely on Kudus. And I mean, until recently, Sameo was probably that player. But that doesn't look like that's going to happen. But maybe Silvanio might be the next one. But yeah, we're told that we're looking for a left winger, and I think that'll make a big difference. We got to give the defence someone to worry about on both sides.
Yeah,
at the moment,
Cal will bring us the up to date.
Yeah. I think me and my cousin back in October were chatting about him. We said, well, if you had Kudus on the right, Samayo on the left, and Solanke up top, that's not a bad front three.
No,
So I think that would make a big difference. If we get that extra player.
I mean, if you got that, particularly if you got Solanke back. I mean, one of the things, Phil, let's bring you back in, that I think was disappointing last season with Solanke was that he wasn't getting the supply for all Ange's attacking philosophy. He wasn't getting the supply of crosses that would make him a really good finisher.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I wasn't on any of your WhatsApp groups last year, but if I had been, I know I write quite a lot and sometimes on the groups as well, but if I'd been in there last year, you would have seen hundreds of messages about Solanke and the lack of service under Ange, because last year I got so angry actually in games because I couldn't work out how we weren't getting Solanke the ball, in dangerous areas, or even I know it's like Solanke's good at holding the ball up, and then passing it, right? Someone running through as well. He's great at that, right? But there was a couple of times last season. I think Man United was one of them, possibly in the cup, where he actually got the ball and ran at the defence and then slotted it home, and it was like, wow, we've finally seen the real Solanke. But he does live off balls into the box. He's a good turn and swivel, he can swivel and put it in the bottom corner. He got, I don't think I'm being too dramatic, but he got less than 5 chances like that the whole of last season, where he got the ball in a really good position, played in, and all he's got to do is do something with his footwork and then get into a finishing position. Absolutely zero. And I couldn't work it out. Okay, on the other hand, Brennan Johnson obviously scored a lot of goals because we had those crosses coming across, going across the box and him kind of finishing at the far post. But I couldn't quite understand that. And that's why I was so keen anyways on seeing Solanke under Frank, also with a Kudus, because Solanke scored 15 goals, I think, for us last season.
Yeah, all comps,
and in all comps. And he was injured a bit as well. Not too much, I think, but he did miss a few games. And it took him time to get used to playing in a new team, a new style again. So I was really hoping that he'd be able to get 20-25 this season. So he's been a massive, massive loss for us. And I'm not just now banging the Thomas Frank drum again specifically on this, but losing players like Solanke, where also if you're Brentford manager and you've got those kind of players up front, even a Schade at the moment is probably better than what we have. To be frank, in terms of how he's playing to their strengths, losing a Solanke is, I think, more important and has been more of an impact than we think. And then you put Madders, you put those. I agree. I'm going a bit off topic here, but I just want to shout out what Adrian said earlier again. About the midfield again as well. And the centre midfield is such a big problem for us. Outside of Archie Gray obviously coming in and being consistent now, but losing Madders, who gives control, losing Kulu, who gives control and creativity, it's such a big, I'm just hoping that Solanke comes back somehow, in the next couple of weeks in January, and there's been rumours about him, having another operation or needing something. Kulu supposedly is back in January. If we get those two back and we sign some more players, with Thomas Frank's game management on there, hopefully coming into play, what can we achieve looking at the run of games that we've got,
Well, well, listen, that's exactly where I'm going with it. So, Adrian, let me bring you in, because we have discussed Thomas Frank's game management. And in general, we've been pretty happy with the changes he made. And I thought yesterday, once again, he got his changes 1,000,000% spot on. Adrian, I mean, let's talk about those. Odegaard and Palhinha for Muani, who was less effective.
Well, very good cameo by Odegaard. So we know there's a player there. I don't want him going out on loan. We keep him as a squad player. Same with Tell. Keep him as squad players. Yeah. Palhinha come in. You know, he gave us a bit of solidity in midfield. He hasn't got the legs to get about. This is why, you know, you struggle to think, well, when are you going to play Bentancur and Palhinha together? It's got to be maybe to see a game out. But we don't really want to see them both starting, not at home games when we should be attacking. Yeah. So, no, he got it right. We got the result, you know, and fair, you know, give the players credit, because to have 2 goals disallowed by VAR can be disheartening. Our heads could have dropped. But the one thing this team has shown, even though it's been poor in a lot of games, when it has to dig in, it has got that resilience in it to dig in. And we dug in well to get that result. Like I say, Palace had more than enough to win the game. But this is what, when you've got, we know there's nothing wrong with the quality of, you could pick a back 5, you know, with a goalkeeper, easy, or even a 6. But that isn't the issue with us, though, is it? Our issue is really midfield and cohesion with the front 3, which there is. If you keep eating long balls, what do you expecting? What I've missed, what was glaringly obvious to me, I mean, Phil alluded to players we're missing, and rightly so, but we missed Decky big time, and we missed Udogie big time. One, Udogie's left-footed. And you'll have also noticed when we were playing well under Ange, or even before, you'd have the overloads with Porro and Decky on the left. We're not seeing overloads with Porro and Kudos. So maybe Frank is playing it cautious till he gets players back. I don't know. We can't read his mind. We're not seeing it. And on the right, on the left, if you've got Spencer, he's going to want to cut in. So that doesn't give you the overloads on the left that Udogie gives you. You know what I mean? So you've got that. But, you know, I mean, like Frank, he's been hit and miss. When he's got things right, he's got them right. And when he's got them wrong, you're thinking, well, you've got this wrong, but why didn't you see it earlier? And it's very easy to be a hindsight critic. But we've all watched football for decades, right? Don't get me wrong, I admire some managers' patience when they do it, because I think I'd be more inclined to make changes as soon as someone got yellow card. I'd probably be inclined to take them off. You're not getting sent off, you know what I mean? So, like, it's easy to be a hindsight critic.
Yeah. Well,
there is no link-up play. And when you get the overloads down the left or right, Ian, I mean, like, then you can have the person on the opposite wing coming in on the far post, and you've got midfield runners. We didn't see any of that against Palace. None of it. No. None of it at all. And we haven't seen it in games. And so that has got to be fixed. Sorry,
Brad, we'll come on to the transfers and the players, Adrian. Brad, let me bring you in, because I want to bring Phil in on a slightly different point. I thought that was by some distance Odegaard's most impressive performance in a Spurs shirt. Yeah, it was only 35 minutes or so, including stoppage time, but he looked really quick and really dangerous. Unlucky not to score as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's, at the moment, I wouldn't say he's our first choice left winger, especially if we go and buy someone in transfer window, but coming on with half an hour to go against a tiring team, I think he's pretty useful. He does take players on. I remember his first ever game at Tottenham when I thought, wow, one of our players actually taking players on. And he also had a good start. I forget the game it was now, where we almost scored in the first minute. He went down the left and crossed, and we almost scored. He could start in that one. So I think he's a very handy player to have on the bench to come on. And he's still very young. So, I mean, who knows? He might become our first team left winger. But I think he's a good. As I say, I don't think if you played him from the start, I think his form probably might drop. But at the moment, coming on for, say, half an hour or whatever, I think he's very, very useful. And then that thing is, if you're a young player, you've got nothing to lose in either. If you're coming on, it's like, go on and do what you can.
Go on and do it.
Yeah, go on and run. And I'd rather say that to a young player, go on and run at them and see what happens, rather than I want you to play this way, blah 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 blah. Going back to the point of Udogie on the left, I think Porro's form has dropped this season. I think it's because he's playing too many games.
Yeah.
So if you bring in that left back, a decent left back to compete with Udogie, then you've got Spence on the right, and Spence can rotate with Porro.
Yeah.
I don't think Spence. I think Spence has been very impressive in the last few games, but he's not a left back.
No.
He doesn't have cutting in, So I'd like to see him do what he's been doing on the right hand side.
Hopefully, we can cover some of this in the transfer chat in a few minutes. Hopefully, Cal will be here on time. But Phil, I'd like to bring you in on this. The next changes were Johnson and Dragusin for Kudus, which was a straight swap, and Gray, which meant that did I put that on a 10-second one? Sorry about that. Johnson and Dragusin. Johnson for Kudus, straight swap, right wing for right wing, but Dragusin a central defender on for a defensive midfield player, which brings me on to my next banner. Which, I mean, he was only playing 10 minutes, again, including stoppage time. But Dragusin, I thought, in that 10 minutes was really impressive. And I've said this, and that's what I want to bring you on this, because you're a Glasner man. Glasner plays that 3-4-3, 3-5-2, depending upon whether you're in possession of the football or not. And I've said, and Adrian will back me on this, I've said it show after show. Callum's here, so I'm just going to bring Callum on. Hi, Cal. Welcome to the show. We'll just finish off the chat about the game. We're nearly done. And then we'll bring you in on the transfer stuff. And interesting, the boys, I don't know if you've been listening to any of it, have identified some of the weaknesses that we're hoping to address this window. But Phil, just going back to you, that I thought this has happened before, where we brought had three on at the back and suddenly looked really, really solid at the back, which would free for me with the squad we've got, whether it's Udogie and Spence or Porro or whatever. I just think our squad is so tailor-made to play defensively with three at the back, and that would free up the wing backs to really go forward and create. Also, we're talking about Brennan Johnson, who Callum, I think, is going to confirm is likely to leave the club this January. And to me, he's been absolutely misused by the club, both by Ange and now by Frank. He's not a right winger. He's a sort of a centre forward that plays off a centre forward. And it was, I think David Clark in the chat talked about Moani playing up front, but it could be with a Richarlison, it could be with Tell, it could be with Johnson up front, which would play to everybody's strengths. And yet we don't have coaches that play that way.
Or Kudus even. Could play up front or off a man. Kudus could play there with Moani as an example, right? Or with Richarlison. Look, I mean, I when Glasner was at Frankfurt, I had the pleasure of watching that team through his 2 years at the club, obviously winning the Europa League and again performing over their level. Overall, right? They had some good players, obviously, but they performed over their level. And Glasner did mix it up a lot. He played, 4 at the back, and 5 at the back, 3 at the back. I think for us, when Thomas Frank's obviously played, 3-5-2 or 3-4-3, whatever, on quite a few occasions. I do agree, though. I think that I don't think I would do it. I'm not a fan of playing kind of 3 at the back or, 5 if you've got wing backs more defensively on duration. I'm not a fan of kind of playing that for a whole season as a way of playing, like Amorim's been doing. Even like Conte kind of, I guess, tended to do. He was very wedded to that system and didn't really understand maybe sometimes how to change it, right? To be a bit more flexible. Frank can do that, and I think he understands that. And I think, yes, we've certainly got with Porro and Spence 2 very good wing-back options on the right. And if Udogie's fit, we would have Udogie's like a perfect left wing back, really, right? If he's on form and fit, right? He's got all the attributes to get up and down, crossing. You know, he drives forward. Defensively, he's good enough. But the issue's been fitness, right? You know, I'm sure Cal's going to talk about, you know, a couple of our left back targets, including hopefully one here in Frankfurt, maybe in the Bundesliga. But like, you know, those kind of players would be perfect in that system, and it would give us more solidity. As you said, and I agree. I mean, Dragusin anyway, like he got a lot of criticism under Ange when he joined the club, but you know, he had to play in that high line, you know, like, and you know, people were getting on Dragusin's back, you know, but the fact remains is that Bayern wanted him, you know, and he was going to sign for Bayern, and he would have got game time there. You know, he's a very good player, and I think that he fits, you know, the Frank way of playing better anyways, but he's very good in a back three. And if you've got Danzo as well, you've actually got Danzo, Dragusin, you know, Mickey, Romero, potentially Archie Gray, even if you want to play him in the back three, which he could do as well. So we've got really good options there. Maybe that means then that you can play a Brennan Johnson if he stays at the club more as a striker sometimes, or a Kudus more centrally. Yeah. Maybe Moani gets a bit more support in the centre. We have options there, and I think that, you know, if we get a new left back in January, it will be a left back who is an attacking left back, someone who can play left wing back. And if we keep Udogie, obviously, and have got Udogie and another one, I'm sure that Frank is going to play, you know, 3-5-2 or 3-4-3 much more. Much more often in the second half of the season, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm going to stop you. And I'm just going to stop because I was going to talk about the games, and just Cal's messaged me to say he's got 45 minutes because he's doing a contract prep. So that means we can maybe come back and talk about one or two of these bits depending upon time and keeping our audience interested. Cal, let me bring you in. Welcome to the show. Brad and Phil, thank you for your contribution so far. You're welcome to stay. You're welcome to go. But certainly for the next 45 minutes, it's going to be Cal telling us what is, and so I've just corrected a spelling mistake on one of my slides, on one of my banners. Cal, let me bring you in. Let's get you really involved. That, as you were saying on Friday, and it was being tweeted by one or two of the ITKs as well. I'll put another one on this 10-second thing. Seems to be confirmed now that this idea that we're interested in Goretzka from Bayern Munich are absolutely wide of the mark.
Yeah, I mean, I know one of Phil's favourite journos from Germany confirmed it today to be completely and utter rubbish, wasn't it? In Plettenberg, he completely shot that down. Obviously, so quite a few others did. It was apparently links from Turkey, and most links, whenever any players get linked to English clubs from Turkey, are about as useful as greasy kebab, to be honest. You just come with that way. They are really not positive. So that was one that got shot down quite easily in the press for it. And then a few other people confirmed it on social media as well, which was quite good.
Yeah, I thought, I thought interestingly enough, we were going to have a proper scoop there, but unfortunately some of the other sources were starting to report that. But you were certainly saying that probably on Friday, that this was just...
well, it just made no sense, did it, whatsoever? Just from a layperson point of view, you look at it and you just think, this guy has never reported anything on Spurs in the past, and Goretzka's not got any real links. I think he might have some Turkish heritage, but that's about it. He's based in Germany, and there was no sense to it at all. It was all messy.
Yeah. Let's talk about outgoings, because I think I want to talk about outgoings, Cal, before we know about who might come in. But I gather from stuff I've read and stuff that you've posted, we don't tend to post stuff that's speculation. So we only try and post stuff that's been confirmed by more than one source. That Brennan Johnson, Tell, Danso, and Dragusin are available for the right deal, the right price, and the right replacements coming in. Is that right?
Seems to be, from what a lot of the journos and the other other sources are reporting. So I know that Rudolph Pat Bateman said about Johnson, and then a lot of other journos have picked up on the back of where we are now, saying that one looks like there's Bournemouth interested, there's Villa interested, there's Palace interested. Tell seems to have interest from Italy as well, a little bit. I don't know how far advanced that is, and I do wonder if these players are going to be like make weights or something for some of the bigger deals that we do out there.
I mean, that was probably where I was going to take you. That Brennan Johnson in particular, you could understand, for example, if they were looking, I know Semenya plays more left-sided, but if they were looking for somebody to play up top in the role that Semenyo played, for 40 million and selling for 65, it actually makes good business for Bournemouth. But when we're going to talk about Crystal Palace in a minute, it makes more sense for us to sell him to Crystal Palace if we're going to talk about Adam Wharton in a minute. But first of all, we saw on the television Paratici, Vinny and Viv all pictured together at Palace. You confirmed from your sources, Cal, that there was a meeting last night between those three and officials at Crystal Palace.
It seems to be that a lot of people picked it up and all that there was a lot of other journos saying that it looks like there was something going on there last night, because there was a weird quote that Frank put out yesterday as well. And I think Chris Cowlin picked up on it, saying he didn't know that they were going to be there. So I would assume that there could be something there realistically, whether it's confirmed or not. But it was quite convenient that all of the sort of Wharton links all picked up. I mean, Team Talk reported it, Dean Jones Soccer reported it. Some people who are really building up attention on Spurs at the moment. So it's quite interesting. I wonder whether it's true or not, but it seemed to be, it could be. Let's put it that way.
I mean, I'm wary because I know that there was meetings after the last Palace game over talking about Eze, and that all proved to be complete and utter crap. And I wonder as well whether, it wasn't crap, but I think we were played like a fiddle. But I wonder with Levy out of the way now, whether paths might be smoother with doing business in the future with Crystal Palace. One name that's been raised time and again was last season, and again it's come up in this window with the players we're talking about. The Palace might be interested. Adam Wharton would fit us like a glove, wouldn't he? In terms of what we're lacking and what we need.
This is a special player, and I think all five of us here agree that he could be the linchpin going forward with Archie Gray, Simmons, Bergvall, Maddison, Kulusevski, all in the middle. And if it's to be correct, then if it's to be believed and to see what all the other journos are posting out there, they're saying that there is a lot of interest. We could be going for it. We could be doing that. And I don't know. It's one of them where I think Adam Wharton has like that feel of a Spurs player, like what Maddison had for so long. Let's put it that way. He just seems ready-made for us, but it's a difficult deal to do. I mean, based on what figures we're hearing, we're talking 60 to 80 million minimum. They're going to want a massive return on their fortunes, but he would be that special marquee signing. And if there was the chance to include players in that deal, or do something like what we did with Archie Gray and Roden, it would make it easier. I think it would probably balance the value of the deal, but they would probably still be separate deals, because you never really get swap deals these days, do you? You get like a transaction of money going both ways, and it all balances the books for accounting purposes.
But and there's a comment by We Are Spurs TV in the chat about MGW and Ezzy said they weren't going to get them. You were also telling us, I think, that we weren't getting Simmons, and certainly from what the information that we had, Callum and I were saying, until he signs for Chelsea, we're very much in that race, and it turns out he's a Spurs player. But let's see. Yeah, I mean, the other point on that, though, is we've heard two things. That, first of all, the Levy family, I love, and here's the record by the Partridge family. It's the Levy family are looking to spend about 150 million, and that would be down payments. That's not just two players at 75 million. That will be, that could be £30 million, down payments on players. And the other thing is they know they need to make a statement signings in order to persuade the fans that actually this new regime is different, without Levy to the old one.
Yeah, I mean, all the signs are seeming good. Like, I mean, even more tabloid journos like Mike McGrath and Ali Gold today are coming out and saying that there could be a rise on the wage cap. There could be different bits available, and they sort of pinned down what target positions there were. Like, we've all heard it as speculation and everything like that. They've said a left back and a centre back are priority. A left winger they'll move for if the profile's right. And this is what people go. They get a list of 10 players and they go, oh, he looks good. He looks good. He looks good on a comp reel. But Spurs will only move if they see the right profile. If not, I would rather, and I think me and Phil were discussing this the other night as well, we'd rather get a left back and get a centre mid and we'd be happy, sort of thing, because it would solve real issues compared to where we have an abundance of left wingers yesterday. Yes, Odebear had a iffy chance. Muani wasn't as effective on the left as, say, Richie could be. But realistically, we have a lot of options in attack. Whether they're good enough is another story. But I'd say that midfield and left back is what is at least being pushed out there by the club to show what we want to look for, isn't it? And we've had the name come out. We've had Walton. If they won't go for Walton, there could be a chance for a younger prospect. If not, they may wait for the summer. If we see a left back, it could be Nathaniel Brown, but there's probably going to be other names on there. But it's moving for the right players, because if we go and buy a load of people for 150 million, they'll go, it's wonderful. And all of that turns out to be a load of rubbish. We're sitting here in the summer with a load of players who we don't want, and it'd be ridiculous. I mean, Carl was just put Sirkin and Mundle in the chat. I mean, luckily, ex-youth players, I don't think we'll go back in for them realistically. But the thing is that if we get this transfer window right, it doesn't just set us up for this summer, because it allows us to grow for next summer, the window after that as well.
Kirkin and Mundle, by the way, did my house conveyance. I wouldn't recommend them to anyone. Worst firm of lawyers you'll ever deal with.
Yeah, it's no coincidence, is it, that when the transfer window's approaching, any team that we're playing through the month of January will be linked with their players. We've got Brentford on Thursday. We're going to be linked with Sade, aren't we? Or the captain, right? And you get this all the time. And I just find them, I just find it like Walton, he's not coming. If he comes, it'll be a summer sign. It's got summer on, or I could even see him going abroad, actually. I can really see a big club coming in from abroad.
I mean, abroad's a weird one, because when you look at the teams, I mean, Barcelona don't really need a midfielder at the moment. Real Madrid have got Tsunami, Camavinga, Bellingham, and quite a few youngsters. They've got obviously that clause for Nico Paz that they could exercise next summer as well. Bayern, maybe, if they don't extend Kimmich and Goretzka's deal, but then it's whether they've got the funds for it. PSG seems to be following this all French look, even though they are potentially looking to move some of their young Frenchmen on for decent values. I mean, Juventus ain't got a pot to piss in, to be honest. I mean, there's more chance of us getting Yildiz than them getting.
Well, I'm gonna talk about Yildiz in a minute. Can I bring you back on just because I don't want to run out of time with you, albeit we're making good progress. One of the things with transfer windows, all of you can come in on this, is it tends to be a bit like dominoes, that you're waiting for the first domino to fall, and then suddenly everything falls from that. And often that first domino doesn't fall till 3, 4, 5 days before the end of the window, and then the whole thing goes mad. Everything that Manchester City are doing seems to be based around getting Semenyo, and everything in that deal suggests it's going to be done early. He's saying, I want my future decided by the 1st of January. I think his buyout clause only lasts for something like 10 days.
It's only till the 10th of January. So, I mean,
yeah.
So I think they're speaking to his representatives at the moment, and they've actually opened official talks, it seems, with Bournemouth to get the clause done. And it's whether they're going to pay it all up front or whether they're going to do it mid-range or whatever. But I mean, it all indicates that it's an early deal. They want it done. Bournemouth, it seems that they want him to play a certain game this weekend or something like that against one of the big teams, I think, in their next fixture. But I reckon City are just going to push through with it. And from all the indications of David Ornstein as well, it kind of shuts down the Savinho stuff and the Marmouche rumours that we was hearing as well, saying that they want to retain their resources. They want to go all out, because I think are they still in 4 competitions, or is it 3 that they've got?
No, they're still in 4.
They want to push for it.
To the League Cup.
That's the thing. So, I mean, they are probably hoping to go ahead with Savinho, Marmouche. Bob is injury prone, so he's kind of the sort of maybe the outsider. But it seems that all the Savinho and Marmouche stuff has gone quiet at the moment and indicating they want to keep them.
Yeah, I mean, well, that was the question, that if they get Semenyo, your information at the moment is that doesn't mean they would release 1 or 2 of Savinho, Bob, and or Marmouche.
Not based on
what with Egypt anyway. Probably.
Yeah, so he's away on AFCON, and then obviously we've got Fabrizio Romano came and pretty much closed it all down today in something that he said. He just went, no, they want to keep them all at the moment. So I think everything is going quiet on that front, and I mean it's based on what we've seen other people post. Realistically, Spurs have kind of called their interest on Savinho since the summer, and there's other things out there that they're looking at, to be honest.
Yeah, okay, we'll come on to that. I mean, one of the things that I've never understood about the Savinho deal would be that we'll pay 70 million for Savinho, untried, untested, and they pay 65 million for Semenyo, who is probably the best striker in England at the moment.
I don't know. I guess that we're looking at a player that's 6 years older, aren't we, than Savinho, and it's that sort of rush for potential to get the next big thing. And I mean, Savinho is definitely not the finished article compared to Semenyo, who probably is closer to it, if anything, realistically. So I would say that we'd probably maybe see some stuff. I like Savinho, but I don't think he's the finished article. Do I think he's worth 70? Probably not, but you do have to pay that for potential these days. The days of us getting a Dele Alli for 10 or 5 million, Lucas Bergvall 11 million, Toby Alderweireld for 15 million, they are long gone, sort of thing. You do find them gems, but they are few and far between.
I'm back to a little bugbear of mine because I think it was the Daily Mail, it might have been one of the other papers. Anyway, it was on the BBC Sport thing saying they would be willing to sell Nathan Ake for £21 million. Now, there's got to go. I bring Adrian in because he's. I just think, and it's a bugbear of mine. One, because I desperately wanted him when he was at Bournemouth.
Yeah, so did I.
Desperately, and I thought, oh no, what do you want to buy relegated players for? You know, if he was any good, Bournemouth wouldn't have got relegated. Yeah, that turned out well.
This link centre backs gets me. We've got Phillips out on loan, Dorrington out on loan. You've got Vaskovic out on loan, and we've got Takaya's just made it back in the squad. We don't really know a lot. We've only seen videos of him. We don't know if he's cut for. I know he's quick, but from what I've seen before, but we don't really know how to handle the Premier League. Dragason's just come back. Mixed on him, wasn't it? Because he had a good Euros. He come to us and he was hit and miss. He gets sent off. He gets caught out of position. We know he's quick. He's good in the air. I haven't really sussed out his passing range. And then so Ake, I would have took him a few years ago, not now. Because to me, Vaskovic as he is now, he's better on the ball and better technically than Danso is. And if Danso can get goals for Spurs, Vaskovic should come into the squad in the summer, right? So I'm taking every Lynch with a centre back. I know they say left footer. If he was someone who played left back and could double up as a left foot centre back, possibly. But I don't know what Callum thinks. But links with centre backs, no, we need it. I mean, look, it's just preposterous in my opinion.
But I quite like the idea of him being a left-sided centre half. He's certainly better than Ben Davies, which we talk about cover for Spence or cover for Udogie. That would free up Van der Ven to play left back with his pace would be absolutely ideal.
He may have to play left back if we're getting injured to one of our fullbacks, Ian. Because then we're very thin on the ground. Then you would be playing Romero and Danso, Romero and Dragoson, or Romero and Takaya then, because we'd have no one else.
Yeah. Let me, Cal. Because as I say, I know we're on a tighter schedule. We're not tight. I can deal with all of this plenty of time. There's no indication we're interested in Ake, though, is there?
Not that I've seen. This is the first link I've seen since the summer, to be honest. I don't think there's much to it, to be honest, unless someone reputable sort of brings it up. I don't think we'll see much on this one, but you never know. They may look to move if probably a centre back does go. So just say if Dragosin or Danso did go, you would probably say they would look at something there, maybe a longer term target or someone to come in, but I think the priority is definitely a left back or a left centre back who can play multi-role.
Yeah, I mean, to me, he fits the bill, albeit he's about 30, 31 now. But, I mean, 20 million in this day and age, it's not that much. It's ridiculous, but it's not that much.
But there's no resale.
I need to say good evening to Tom. He did say he could get on tonight, but I said take the day off, full pay and everything. I said accrued holiday pay and everything. Tom's been laid low with the virus, and more importantly, his son was in hospital for a bit with it. But I think everything's all right now. But so just from all of us, Tom. Glad everything seems to be okay, and presumably see you back on the show next week. But just wanted to say hi to you anyway. And I mean that's I think the point. Van der Ven said he prefers playing left back because he can be more attacking. And I mean, and I agree, but I think that means means we got to have a left-sided centre half to. To compensate for his loss in that position. All right, let me move you on, Cal. This is a name that keeps coming up, and I keep thinking as well with Paratici still there. Apparently, could that be his farewell present to Tottenham? I mean, 20 years old, 16 games, 6 goals, 4 assists. He wants $5 million a year in salary. It's $100,000 a week. It's like,
it seems like a logical Spurs deal, and this is one of them where you've got the prime experience, but also got the young side to it. And I mean, it seems to be a lot more picked up in the the journalist side at the moment. We've got more links to him. I think Team Talk posted it out and a few others the last couple of days. I mean, based on what we've seen, it looks like there is definitely interest there. Whether the deal's possible, I mean, he is the linchpin of Juventus at the moment. He does everything for them, and he's probably arguably their best player. I would love this deal to happen. Whether it can or not, I don't know. It's too early to tell, I think. But if we could do it, I reckon we would try.
How hard are we? Yeah, well, I suppose you've answered it. I mean, because this is a deal you would think that every big club in Europe would be after. 20 years old, and that kind of goal involvement is just phenomenal.
Yeah, he seems to be like that Real Madrid type player that they try and pick up. I mean, they've already got Arda Güler, who is one of his Turkish teammates over there. So I wonder whether there's links there as well. But I mean, it looks like every top club is looking at this guy. It's just how much Spurs want him. If we could do it, I'm definitely sure they would put up good money for it. That's the thing, because he would solve probably left wing, probably a 10 role, and he could do right wing as well.
Yeah, I think that's probably right. I mean, I don't know if the other boys want to come in on this. I mean, I don't know if Phil working in Europe, living in Europe, if you see it any more of this guy than we do. But I think Cal's hit the nail on the head that he could play left side, he could play number 10. To me, the profile, he's such a Spurs player.
I won't talk too long about him, but I've seen a bit of him, and I know that Bayern were linked with him like 2 years ago when he was literally just 18. But he was specifically wanted more game time, and they couldn't offer that at the time. They still had Tell, who was like 17, 18, and obviously getting some games. I think Dortmund were interested in Yildiz as well. They've done a few deals with Juve over the years. I mean, the guy is perfect for us, actually. He would sort us out big time. He wouldn't cost the world, I don't think, either, right? In terms of, we're not talking 80, 90 million for him. And wages are not like crazy high. So,
well, I already want 5 million a year. That's £100,000 a week. I mean, that's in this day and age, that's not a lot of money.
I'd go so far to say that I know that someone like Marmoush, if I had the choice, right? Marmoush is obviously a bit more proven, probably overall. He's come into the Premier League. I'd rather take Kenan Yildiz over Marmoush any day of the week. So. I'll take Yildiz over Savinho, or Oscar Bob any day of the week.
Phil, would you take Yildiz over Jan Diomande at Leipzig? Who would suit the Premier League better?
That's just cruel. That's a cruel question, Adrian. You're a cruel man doing this before New Year's. That's horrible.
Well, Phil, what is the German league?
I do like Diomande, and he's been on form, and I think he's got a very high ceiling still as well. But I got to be honest, I would take Yildiz over Diomande. I think Yildiz as well has got less potential to, I don't want to say fail, but Diomande, I think, coming into the Premier League could be a bit of a step up for him in terms of the pace. The types of player that they are, I think Yildiz would adapt a bit better to the Premier League, maybe quicker. But obviously, I'll take both of them. I mean, Diomande is a fantastic player as well, but he's kind of come a bit from nowhere. I think Yildiz would fit better for us personally.
He just seems more versatile as well.
That as well.
Diomande is more of a natural winger as such. So, I mean, if we're only looking for that, but we know Spurs love a versatile forward, don't we? One way or another, we want them to play 20 roles in it. But yeah, Yildiz seems to me to be the more adaptive profile for Spurs, and it does seem to have the air of like when Christian Eriksen came in a little bit, that he was the linchpin of his team, and we'd be nicking probably one of the best, if not the best player out of Italy at his age now. I know there's Paz as well, but obviously that's a ship long gone and sailed for the Real Madrid links there. But realistically, Yildiz just seems a lot better. I like Diomande though. I think there's a very good player there. Just seems that it seems that all the targets that we're going for that have been reported are, we are competing with Europe's best, aren't we, for them? And this is what we want to be challenging for. We're not doing under the radar stuff anymore. It's no, these are what we're going through in the forefront, and it's serious money. So if it's to be believed with the war chest and the updated wages, everything like that, this is what we want. We want this intent, don't we? We want it to be happy. And I know Ian doesn't like Frank, and I know he doesn't want to back Frank, and I know he wants Frank out on a linchpin. But I mean, realistically, if we are going to back the manager, then this is the way for it. I mean, I've just slaughtered Ian. I've just literally made him sink. Took the piss out of him saying he couldn't run earlier. So I mean, might as well add to it as well.
I did say earlier, I mean, in fairness, the last two games, I was really impressed with the effort yesterday. And we know that the squad needs strengthening. I think on the last two games, Liverpool, we played with 9 in the end. Yesterday, we won the game and we played with a lot of guts. I'm not convinced Frank's the right man. And we talked about this earlier with Phil. I would have. Phil's a Glasner man. I'm a Glasner man, but I'm certainly not agitating for Frank out while the performances are as determined as they were last year.
There's no one better there, is there? That's the thing. There is no one else better that we're going to go and get unless we cough up an absolute fortune. I mean, we paid nearly 10 to 15 million for Frank from Brentford in compensation, apparently, and to get Poch 20 million, Glasner, I don't know, 6 million you'd pay for him. Iraola, kamikaze ball like Ange, and it looks like he's been sussed out now at Bournemouth a little bit as well. Xavi, he'd want a war chest and realistically a whole change of pocketbook. It's just, I'd rather stick with Frank, see how it goes this year, and then you make decisions in the summer, don't you?
Yeah, Frank has got to convince me. Like, he's got to convince a lot of supporters. He's got the wherewithal and the ambition and the understanding to manage Tottenham. I said this earlier, Cal, in the bit that I worry too much that he's trying to make Tottenham a Brentford rather than making a Brentford manager a Tottenham manager. That's my concern. But I hope he proves me wrong. He just has to talk Tottenham up, the fans up, the team up, rather than talking it down all the time and managing our expectations downwards. I'm not a Spurs supporter. I want my expectations managed downwards. I want my manager to manage the expectations of the players upwards to go and win trophies like we used to.
Callum, I just want to talk about attacking midfielders. Are we interested in Keys Smith at AZ Alkmaar, Stankovic at Bruges, player we both like, Mainz Kluivert at Monaco, and a player I looked at the video the other day, Amadou Zangara at Metz?
I haven't seen any links on the guy from Metz. Keith Schmidt has been linked to Crystal Palace conveniently today. So after all the links with Walton came out for us, Keith Schmidt has now been linked to Palace. But it seems that he's got about 20 other clubs in Europe looking at him. And I know I saw scouting reports reported on X for him being on one of Spurs' lists. There's obviously Ducat, who Paul O'Keefe shared as well.
Nathan Ducat, yeah.
Akliush's name seems to still float around, but it doesn't seem very prominent. So I think we would still like him, and I know I really like him as well, and I know you do, Adrian, and I know Phil rates him as well, and he would seem to answer a lot of questions. He's kind of that Yildiz player as well. He answers questions and he works for the profile, but it doesn't seem to be that prominent at the moment from what I've seen and heard out there. So I wonder whether that's maybe one for further down the line or potentially something like that, because sort of the person who's reporting a lot of stuff out of France at the moment, Ekram Moore. He's one of their journos over on the continent, and he seems to be picking up a lot of reliable stuff at the moment over, say, Fabrizio, Sasha Tavalori, people like that. So I'd keep an eye on some of his links because they seem to be stacking up with what other reliable Spurs sources are reporting at the moment as well.
Who's that? What's it? I'll follow him on X. What's his name?
It's Ekram Moore, I think it is. Let me just have a look.
Yeah,
Ekram Connor. He seems to be confirming a lot of stuff. He was the one that confirmed all the Barkala stuff the other day after Rudolph Pat Bateman dropped it on his X feed as well. So he seems to be picking up a lot of stuff. The ones that I'm listening to at the moment and sort of piecing together is Rudolph. And then it seems to be picked up by Dean Jones Soccer for English players. Seems to be Ekram Connor, who is picking up more European profile players at the moment. They seem to be very reliable because ultimately Fabrizio's gone very quiet on us. David Ornstein seems more interested in reporting on Man United and City in their chase of one player and one player only, or it's talking about Italian mess. So these are the sort of ones that I'm sort of piecing different bits together to sort of look at profiles. But I mean, these are all good players.
Yeah.
And this is why I'm excited for this window. And I know we all chat on our different groups and we say we like this player, we like that player. We know Adrian likes a compilation. So if you say you've seen this player linked, if you want a compilation, go to Adrian. He'll get you a YouTube video and send you about 20 others to go along with it. But if you look at it, you see the profile of the player and then you start thinking, well, this is what we need in a Spurs lineup, isn't it? And then you can start piecing bits together to understand where they fit into it and where the relevance are. So if you see a centre-back linked, you think, not for now. If you see a striker, probably not for now unless something special comes up. All these players, though, are actually really good and they fit the winger profile, the left-back profile, and our ultimate dream of Walton.
No mention of Stankovic then, because apparently, although he's on, they've got a buyback clause from Bruges, for about 20 million euros or something.
I haven't seen any interest in him.
No, and apparently, Milan will now just want to pay it and get him back because they know they can sell him for 30 or 40. You know what I mean?
Milan are quite weird with some of their dealings because they've had Charles Del Cazzaleri. He's a Belgian player, and Spurs were linked with him a lot a while ago. And I heard his name come up from somewhere. I don't know where it was from, but I saw there was like tentative links. It wasn't anything special, but another good player there. But they seem to like to get players. They loan them to Atalanta or other people in Italy, or sell them on for cheap, buy them back at an inflated rate, and then flog them on again, like what Atalanta did with us with Romero, sort of thing. It seems to be that Italian profile, and Spain loves it as well. English clubs are rubbish at it, to be honest. This one here. I know
Nathaniel Brown is one we've been linked with, because I mean, just for people in the chat as well. We'll try and keep this slot to players that we know we're genuinely interested in, rather than a who's who of European football. So
this one won't go away, will it? And I know this is one that always brings a smile to Phil's face whenever we bring up. And Phil's not a very happy man, but when Nathaniel Brown's face or name comes up, it always brings a little smile to his face, because this is one I think you'd take any day of the week, wouldn't you, Phil? And it seems to be that profile of he can defend, but he can also attack.
He's class. It'd be perfect for what we need. He's got a similar profile to Udogie. He's probably a bit of a better defender in some respects, but he's so fast and his crossing is outstanding. He's born in Germany, born here in Germany. His dad's originally from the US, his mum's local here, and Germany called him up recently, right? So he's played his first couple of games for the German national team in the most recent international break. So he's right at the top right now in terms of teams interested in him. I know that Real Madrid and Barca have inquired to Frankfurt in the last couple of months, but they haven't followed up with any concrete interest. And the Bild Zeitung and Kicker, which are the two kind of biggest football, sporty kind of media outlets here, have both linked us with him concretely. We've definitely sent our scouts there, and I believe that we've had, kind of initial talks with Frankfurt, but obviously nothing too concrete from what we understand. But he'd be available for a good price. I think he'd be available for about 40 million. But bearing in mind that he's pretty much starting for Germany now, and likely to start at Germany in the left wing back role at the World Cup, and he's only 22. I think it'd be a fantastic signing for us.
Fits the profile perfectly, and if there is that 150 million available, we can put 25 or 30 million of that up front, which might be appealing to Frankfurt as well.
I think he's a low risk signing as well, because there's no doubt that he will hit the ground running. He's a really adaptable guy as well, a very flexible kind of personality, very open. I think he'd like slot into the Premier League, into living in London, all that kind of stuff very easily. Like, it'd be a very low risk signing. But as I said, until we actually see any kind of real concrete stuff, then I don't know, Cal, if we've got who our other left back options are, really.
I haven't seen many out there.
Seen too many, or?
No, I haven't seen a lot, to be honest, circulating. It seems to be Brown's the most reported one on out there, and then the rest are like, you get a tentative link to Lukeba, and we had some from Gestrada as well. They are all theoretical stuff. No, I think that one's gone and long gone. But it just seems that Brown seems the most prominent one that's been picked up by Spurs ITKs, and then also journos as well. And it's not links just coming from Germany, they're coming from England as well. And I mean, Phil, you probably read journalism reports more from Germany than us, but you probably see that it's Spurs, it's Bayern, it's Real. All of them have looked at him. Man United have looked at him because they've got about as much faith in Dorgu as wet paint, something like that. So these are where it seems to be that Brown is one of the preferred options if they could do it, I would say.
Okay. I was going to ask something, and the question's just gone completely out of my mind. Yeah. Is this one, Phil, it's maybe one for you, that if it's going to be done, it'll be done early in the window?
Yeah, I think so. The thing with Frankfurt is that they're always open to selling in January as well. The sporting director there, Crusher, he sold Marmoush, didn't he, last January? Frankfurt are always up for a deal. They've, over the last couple of years, they've made 400-500 million profit on X amount of players that they brought in. There's been no other sporting director and management team have kind of achieved those returns. Moani, Marmoush, Ekatike, obviously, for like 70 million profit in 1 year. X, Y, Z, and there's been like 5 or 6 of those, and they've achieved that consistently, and they're always up for a deal, right? As long as they get, or they see what their fair return is, they don't block players from leaving, if that makes any sense. So if someone comes now and puts enough money on the table, and as I said, I reckon that's somewhere between 40 and 50 million. I don't see any reason why Frankfurt would block the move. I think Frankfurt are even looking at some left back. Well, I know for a fact that Kruscher, the sporting director, is already lining up some left back replacements, and they've got such a good scouting network that they'll do the same. They'll pull out another they'll buy someone for like 4 or 5 million and probably like develop them into a 25 million player.
Yeah.
You know, like within like 2 seasons. So that he's someone that that we can get now. And I think that if we come in early for him, then I think it's something that we can get done quite quickly. So I'd like to think let's be on this, you know, this week, right? Friday, Thursday.
Love to be doing the show on Sunday with some next Sunday with some proper action. Phil, you gave one name, Bacola. What are you telling me about that?
Yeah, I don't know if this was maybe Cal can answer this in a bit more detail. I just posted it in the chat because I saw his name mentioned on quite a few WhatsApp groups today. I think there was some links online saying that he, you know, that Paris would consider maybe moving him on, but I don't even know if that's on a loan basis because obviously Barcola is like he's rated as like probably one of he's like absolutely he's almost Mbappe. He's almost Mbappe, like kind of potential, right? Levels, you know, 18, 19. So I don't know what's in that, but there were quite a few posts about him. So I don't know. Maybe Cal, do you know any more on that?
I was very lucky to get this shared with me by Rudolph on Christmas Day. This was a bit of a Christmas present, and then I kept quiet, and then I saw all the links come out, and it was Ekram. That Ekram came out again, I think, yesterday and reported it, and then Rudolph's obviously posted all the messages afterwards, and it seems like it's a difficult deal to do, but I do see it being possible. And I don't know, I think because there is a link to PSG, he's not playing as much compared to Cavaschelli, Ousmane Dembele, Desiree Doué. He seems the most achievable one out of them, apart from when we got them silly links to Li Kangyang or whatever his name is, or Kanyan Lee in the summer from them. So I think there's a chance for this, but it's going to be big money sort of thing. But he's going to be a top target. And compared to when we was going for Clinton NG and Nkodu from the French league, this is like a link that this excites you. This gets you off your seat. And if this is possible, and if it's to be followed and reported, what's been shared with us, then this has the makings of, if we've got 4 top targets of Brown, Yildiz, Barcola and Walton, and then the option to get other backup players, we won't get all 4 of them. Let's put it this way. It's probably not feasible, but even if we got 1 or 2 of them, that dramatically improves our starting 11. That's what we need, because the players that are in our starting 11 who are probably not that good but are decent enough to be squad options drop out, and then these players take their places. That instantaneously improves our squad, and I would be so happy for that if it happens.
Chelsea, Man United and Liverpool also linked with him though, Cal.
United seems to be linked with everyone, as they always are. Oh God, someone's just posted Benjamin Stambouli in there as well. We wanted Morgan Schneiderlin and Jay Rodriguez that summer, and we got Stambouli. That's how that one went. Great. That's what. No, but I mean, Liverpool. Obviously...
I mean, seriously, with Stambouli with Dauphinoise potatoes, love it. You know.
Oh God, what? It was peaceful when you was on a cruise. We didn't have these bad jokes. I just had Adrian talking at me. It was peaceful then. I'll put you back on a boat somewhere. But no, I mean,
I was in an Italian restaurant. The man says to me, "Do you like graffiti?" I says, "I love all Italian food."
Oh my God! No,
I'm here all night.
Good. I'm glad I'm not. I'll make this my going out comment.
I'm gonna wrap it up anyway.
But yeah, realistically, when Man United are linked to everyone, Liverpool, you could probably see there is a need for them to get another winger in. But I reckon they might go for someone like Diomande from Leipzig, or someone serious like that. I do wonder whether any of the Spanish clubs move for him. I don't reckon they would, because they're quite well stocked there. City are going to get Semenyo, and Chelsea seem to have about as many wingers as they do feeder clubs at the moment. So it doesn't seem to stack up. So I reckon Spurs have a good chance. We just have to wait and see, because all of these are rumours, they're links, they're shared information. Until we see the player holding the shirt, we can't say for definite what's going to happen. But it's nice to think. It's nice for all of us, if we play Football Manager, to go and buy these players. It's nice for Adrian to do compilation videos for us. It's lovely for us to do transfer shows. Just until we get concrete evidence to show it, it's all just speculation, and we can only talk about it. But it'd be hell of a nice window if we got these players, wouldn't it?
Wouldn't it just? I'm going to let you. You said you were going to wanted to do a quote, a proposal. So I will let you go and overstay my welcome, Cal. Book you on hopefully with Gary as well, maybe next Sunday, where maybe we got more positive, well, not positive news, but concrete news of players that we might be getting in. I've just got a feeling that things might happen early in this window, and that will make a nice change. So I'm going to say cheerio. Thanks, Cal, for coming on. Phil, your debut on the show. Brilliant. We'll have you on again, I hope, before too long. Thank you for coming on. Brad, thank you.
Pleasure's mine.
And Adrian as well. To all of you in the chat, been a lot of you there. If you haven't, do hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't already. It'd be wonderful to get that. We're getting lots of new subscribers, so the more we get, the better. Adrian, when are we back?
Not tomorrow, because you've done Monday, so it'll be Friday, because we're playing Brentford on Thursday.
Yeah.
So we'll have the Friday show with Alan Kravitz and Steve Silver as usual, because they're in America.
Yeah.
And probably get another guest on, see who's available. Are you on Sunday as well?
I'm going to do Sunday. No. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Just to let viewers know while we're plugging the channel, we do go out usually on a Tuesday, barring European football, of course. Friday and Sunday, you can find us. We have got a big Facebook group, which we'd love to get over. I mean, work so hard trying to get them crossover, but they don't.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just certain platforms. That's it. We've got a WhatsApp group. If you give us your details, you can guess, but we need your phone number. So you'd need a message just through Facebook or through XCOM, because we've got an XCOM group as well. We're quite active. We pride ourselves in being fact-based, mature, and sensible. Don't laugh. And so want to thank everyone in the chat for their comments and questions. Want to thank everyone who's watching us on various platforms, and a big up to everyone that watches us on playback. And back to you, Ian.
Yeah, so we're playing Sunderland next.
Oh, and guys, Happy New Year to you all! Because
yes, Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year
to the guests and to all of you, particularly a lot of you in the chat, are real regulars and big supporters of us. So can't thank you enough.
Yeah.
Happy New Year. Let's hope for a good window. Let's hope for a good 2026. And as we say, come on, you Spurs.
Something I can't explain. We follow through sun and rain. When we lose, we don't complain. Yes, we do, oh, we do. But Tottenham Hotspur, till I die. We follow through sun and rain. When we lose, we don't complain. Yes, we do, oh, we do. we follow through sun and rain. When we lose